Good evening and welcome to the November 18th, 2024 meeting of the Coeur d'Alene Parks and Recreation Commission. Melissa, would you get us started with roll call, please?
Commissioner Cranston,
Here.
Commissioner McDowell,
Here.
Commissioner Lean,
Here.
Commissioner Tate,
Here.
Commissioner Hill,
Here.
Commissioner Bakes,
Here.
Commissioner Wood,
Here.
Commissioner Bailey.
Here.
Awesome, we have a full house tonight. Bridget, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do any of the commissioners here tonight have a conflict of interest with any of the agenda items? Nope. Okay, there are none. That brings us to approval of the July 15th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I'd move for their approval as presented.
Second.
The motion's been made by Commissioner McDowell and seconded by Commissioner Tate to approve July 15th, 2024 minutes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. Bill, that brings us to staff report.
Yes, before that, we were going to move item 8 and switch item 8 and 10
Okay,
on the agenda, so that's known, so Adam can go officiate a basketball game.
yep, understood.
Let's see, what's been cooking with us. A couple weeks back, Monty and the Tubbs Hill Foundation worked with about 80 students from Lake City High School to clean up 3 different areas on Tubbs Hill. We had the entrance to 3rd Street that they resurfaced and put in some new gravel. We had a bunch of graffiti on the lake side that was hard to see unless you were in a boat. And then we had some debris from an old telemetry building that had some blocks that they carried out as well. And they spent, what, about 4 or 5 hours? 3 hours, okay. So there were about 80 of them there and helped out, and we got a lot of work done. The ice rink's being installed as we speak. It'll be up and running the week of Thanksgiving. We are going out to bid on a couple items that you guys saw. One is the passive water sports at Atlas. That one is going out to be advertised this coming month. December 19th, and again on February 4th. And the other one is we are going out to ask for qualifications for someone to have a concert series on Wednesdays here at McEwen, a free concert series. And so we'll see, there was a lot of interest after Mr. Davis was unable to continue at the park. So we've opened it up in a way that it won't be paid. It'll be just like the other series we have at Riverstone is free and City Park's free. So, and then that'll go to council on February 4th. I don't know if you know this, but we are the people that put up all the flags along Northwest Boulevard and Lakeside and Sherman. We tried something different this year. Our bucket truck was down, and so we ordered a lift that worked a lot better and is a lot more maneuverable. We started at 4 in the morning on 2 separate days and got those down in record time. So one of the things we're looking at is instead of replacing one of our bucket trucks, we might go to this man lift instead. So we're considering that and how we can do that within the budget. And here's something that's, speaks to what we're talking about with recreation. Some years ago, I had shared a video with you about what this gentleman, he was a referee, calls cheeseburgers. And they are parents who are a little more than enthusiastic at their children's games. And they get excited. We had an occurrence at our 4th grade basketball last week where a parent got an ex-D1 athlete, somebody I happen to know, and so we had to call him up, and he understood the error of his ways, and he was going to apologize to our folks, and we're glad that had that resolution rather than having to ask him his children and he could not attend, but it turned out all well. But as a reminder, all the parents, it's fourth grade basketball. It's recreation sports. It's not a scholarship. Your kid's not gonna win that. You're not making money on this deal. It's all for fun. So everybody take a deep breath and really understand what the game's all about, so. And then we're working this winter to fill our 4 vacancies that we have. We have 4 vacant 9s, and I think I've shared with you before, I'm gonna retool those and shuffle the deck. And we're not, in doing that, I'm hopeful to take a little bit of our seasonal budget to offset we get 4 out of that, or actually 5 out of those 4 positions. So I'm being patient. I'm convinced that we'll get what we need, but we're just gonna have to wait a little bit into the winter.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question on that? Bill, the 4 vacancies, those are not seasonal. Those are people that you should have had right now.
Correct.
And how long have they been vacant?
Well, the vacancies, it's been a really a rocky ride with our folks, in that, to answer your question short and sweet, would be since early summer. But they all didn't happen at the same time. We had hired some folks that didn't work out, and then we lost them, and there were some transfers within the organization. We had some people that retired, and other people moved up in the organization because of retirements. And so therefore, they opened up a position. For example, Jared Odell took Mike Kempton's position here at McEwen. So that opened up his 9 position. So that happened in June. So that, and the same thing's true, Mark Walter took DeEtte Harrelson's position. She'd been with us for almost 19 or 20 years. He moved up in the organization, and he left at 9, but these were due to retirements. And hers happened last year, about January. So it's kind of across the board. We filled a couple, we lose a couple, but currently we're down 4 9s.
Okay, and
And again, I'll tell you, Commissioner Wood, that I'm really confident. We've got a game plan. I've talked with Troy about it. And so I'm certain we'll get there at the end of the day, and we'll be fine by next spring.
so I guess what I'm trying to get at is, when is the end of the day? And how long, I mean, are you having trouble recruiting people? And are these positions are in your current budget, correct?
We haven't advertised for them, so
Okay.
the difficulty in.
Right. Thank you.
The budget's there, and I'm very comfortable and confident that we'll get what we need.
Wait until when?
Well, let's see, I would like to try and advertise for 1 position in the next several weeks, and the others, in the field positions, I want to do near the end of January, so I get them on board before the spring starts.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else for Bill? Bill, I'd like to welcome our new student representative to the group. Would you mind introducing Jaron?
Hello, my name is Jaron, and I don't know what to really say, but I thought this would be an interesting opportunity to see how our government stuff works and how our councils for different topics and other things work, and so I thought I would try it out and see how it works.
Well, welcome to the group. What year and what school are you attending?
I'm attending Lake City, and I'm grade 12, so senior.
Great.
This is my last year, and I'm ready for it to be done.
Well, again, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Do any of the commissioners have any comments or announcements at this time?
I just wanted to say that Leaf Fest has been a huge success, and I think the leaf pickup in this city is one of the best services that we have here.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And it's fun to watch.
it's incredible to
It's
watch.
quite the ballet out there with the
It
heavy
is.
equipment. Okay, now's the time we have dedicated for public comments, and I understand we have at least one comment here from Suzanne Knutson. Come on to the podium and just state your name and address for the record, and you have up to 3 minutes.
Okay, I might have 4, but I'll try to be fast.
It's double-spaced, so. My name is Suzanne Knutson, and I am a new board member. And Steve, Anthony, and Bill were the featured speakers at our 40th anniversary gala in September, and they hit a grand slam. They shared that the city is behind SNR, and people gave above and beyond what we were hoping to raise. And I think a lot of that really has a lot to do with what Bill shared. And 50% of the SNR participants live in Coeur d'Alene. It used to be higher than that, but a lot of organizations similar closed down during and after COVID. And SNR draws people from Bonner County all the way down to Lewiston for some of our special events every year. The city of Coeur d'Alene sets a good example for other communities through financial support of SNR, and we are also grateful for the other support SNR receives from those who are keeping the grounds at parks and the bathrooms clean at parks that we take our groups to, and also for the maintenance and insurance that the city provides for SNR. Vans and facilities and things. The vision of SNR is to champion an independent and joyful life, creating a connected community for all. And the main goal of SNR is to provide recreational opportunities to all people with disabilities, regardless of their ability to pay. And with your continued support, we can continue to accomplish that. We certainly appreciate your support, absolutely. It's foundational. And if you have not been to SNR to see what we do, I'd like to extend an invitation to each of you. Call us up, schedule a tour, or just drop by. We're on Government Way, not too far from the Garnet Cafe. Mondays are the best day if you just want to drop in. Because we do different things different days. Today, we had 13 participants who were making cards, doing art, playing games, including video bowling, weaving and knitting hats and scarves with a couple of volunteers who were present. Tuesdays, we play basketball at Real Life in Post Falls. Wednesday, we go to the bowling alley at Sunset Lanes. Thursday, we are out in the community for either a field trip or lunch with friends. And on Fridays, we cook or we bowl, because we like bowling a lot. We also have evening groups that meet regularly for dinner, movie nights, games, karaoke, which is a favorite. And at SNR, we have some big goals for the future, and we have a great board and amazing staff and volunteers to help accomplish them, but we can't do it without all of you. So thank you for your work on behalf of those in the disability community. SNR would also like to be a resource for the committee and for the city. If there's anything that we can do, please reach out. Let us know if we can help support or provide information regarding the disability community for Parks and Recreation. We'd be happy to help. In closing, I'd like to share a few comments that were made by parents. They're in a video on our website right now, which the website is snridaho.org. Please check it out. See what some of our events coming up are. But some of those parents said that SNR has been a lifesaver. SNR means the world to our family. SNR has provided the best years of our lives. SNR means people in our community have a place to go, to be together, spending time with people who are most like them, and find joy in being themselves, doing the things that they like to do with no judgment. SNR is a safe, supportive, and loving environment. Thanks.
Any questions for Suzanne?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, maybe just a comment. Suzanne, you have been a tireless volunteer for years in this community, especially with special needs and many others. I know that you have fingers in a lot of different organizations just out of the goodness of your heart. And she comes to our council meetings, which are long and drawn out sometimes, and she provides input over and over and over again.
Almost 10 years. So he's filled the role as the rec coordinator, which has been an amazing, amazing help for me and his abilities. So you'll probably see him at some of these because we'll probably put him up here to do some of these updates and whatnot. So oh yes, that's true. So then Jordan getting the promotion, we also hired a gentleman named Connor Pedicolis. He was with us, almost 10 years part-time, doing officiating, gym supervising, activity stuff, helping us train officials. He was working for the State Industrial Commission and had expressed a desire to come back to the city if we had any full-time jobs open. And so we were lucky enough that Troy and finance agreed to get him where we needed to be to get him in the door. But it's been great because we just hand him a set of keys and away we went. No training, and he fits the culture. So so that's been a really, really good addition. So first thing I want to mention as far as just some updates, I think last time I was here, we were talking about changing over a lot of our processes, finance stuff, some of those things. But a big piece of what Jordan's been doing is with our website. So that is the staffing piece. That is the staffing piece. Kind of piggybacking on the comment about the gentleman that we had fussing at our people. We've got an 18-year-old kid supervising and 15-year-old kids that are officiating. And when parents treat them the way that this gentleman did last week, we see a lot of those that they'll just say, nope, I'm done. And I mean, right in the middle of the season, just walk away because they don't want to deal with it. And, quite frankly, I can't blame them. I will throw out, though, one thing that I think is super cool about the group that we have, and talking about like Connor, Jordan, fitting the culture, is when we found out that was going on, you had 3 people who weren't responsible for that gym all putting their shoes on, putting their coats on, and racing over there to support this 18-year-old kid. So for me, especially being in the supervisory position, I just thought that was super cool. That speaks to the culture and the quality of people that that we're employing as full-timers for sure. So Jewett House, we are fully booked for 2025 already. I think, or actually I shouldn't say fully. We've got 2 openings now because I had somebody cancel about 5 minutes before we came over here. So that's about 16 weekends through the summer. We'll probably bring in close to 60,000 next summer, which is roughly about what we brought in this year, which is considerably more than we had in the past. So, and that's without any advertising. So all word of mouth, people are finding out, just from past clients, from photographers, which is great. Again, that's another one of those things that speaks to kind of how we're running things and the attitude that we're, putting forth with people is they're, coming to us without advertising and any of that. So, the last thing, I guess, and is kind of that action item, but talking about some of the MOUs that we have or agreements that we have with user groups, this is kind of the season where we're going to start reevaluating all of those. So you have Little League, Junior Tackle, the Coeur d'Alene Soccer Club, the Adult Soccer Club, Legion. So we're navigating some of that to rework some of the terms of those contracts, both with the finance part and facilities that they're getting. So, yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
Anything for Adam?
I'm just curious, Adam, where are the basketball games being held at? What gyms are you talking about? I mean, if you don't want to give that specific location, but I'm just.
Oh, no, it's fine. So we're using all the school district facilities. So for the most part, we try to keep all of the games pretty centrally located. So we're at Jim's old stomping grounds over there at Woodland, Skyway Elementary, Ramsey Elementary for games. And then we spread practices all over town, down to Fernand, Bryan, Venture over there on 9th Street. So we're kind of all over the place.
Well, I was just going to offer a suggestion. It's not a police matter whatsoever, what you've been talking about, but the SROs are on campus and they're pretty good about navigating parents. And they do those kind of duties of, Jim worked with them, you work with them. They're pretty good about talking to parents and behavior that's expected. Bill's good at it too, but I would utilize them if you wanted to.
Sure, yeah.
I think the team handled it pretty well, and it was nice that when Adam reached out to the gentleman, he immediately understood he was wrong.
Good.
So that was
Nice.
a good sign, and then he's gonna have an apology to the kids this week, I think.
Yeah, meeting on Wednesday, and that's certainly not the norm. So it was a pleasant surprise because normally when you have those conversations, people don't usually take a lot of accountability, and they want to put it on the 15-year-old kid, and somehow it was their fault, right? So, yeah, that was definitely a pleasant surprise for sure.
Great.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, we're going to move up the American Legion agreement renewal for Adam here. Do it next. So the decision point tonight would be, should the commission recommend approval of the agreement between the City of Coeur d'Alene and American Legion Baseball for the use of Thorkel Field at Ramsey Park? The City of Coeur d'Alene first entered into an agreement with American Legion Baseball in 1992 for the use of McEwen Field. American Legion's baseball program was moved to Thorkel Field at Ramsey Park, and then at that time, we updated the agreement, which is currently up for renewal. There will be no additional cost to the city to maintain the field. This agreement will identify and outline the responsibilities that the City of Coeur d'Alene and American Legion Baseball will have for field maintenance, scheduling, and costs for the American Legion season. Again, the decision point of recommendation tonight, the commission should recommend to General Services that the City Council approve the agreement between the City of Coeur d'Alene and American Legion Baseball for the use of Thorkel Field at Ramsey Park. Do you have anything to add, Adam?
I would just say that the American Legion Group is probably the easiest one that we deal with. I mean, typically when we send them the contract, they just review it. In fact, they're having a board meeting tonight to review it and sign it. Mike Thompson, that's their board president, has a pretty good grasp on their group. So he's pretty confident that they're just. That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know if they get input, if they have like an American Legion person from the post that serves on their board, but we don't get that interaction with them. So we typically deal with Mike Thompson, who's their board president.
Okay. What's your pleasure?
I would make a motion that we recommend to General Services that we approve the extension of the agreement for a 5-year period.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion's been made by Commissioner McDowell and seconded by Commissioner Hill to recommend to City Council, recommend General Services, that the council approve the agreement between the City of Coeur d'Alene and American Legion Baseball for the use of Thorkel Field at Ramsey Park for 5 additional years. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion's unanimous, and that goes to General Services next week. Okay. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. Okay, our next item is an information-only item regarding an urban forestry update.
Hello, Commissioners. It's nice to be here. Forgive me.
More volume.
Sure you don't need something else.
I do, but we also need more volume.
Forgive me. Just opening up my slideshow here. Okay. Hello. Glad to be here.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah, just here to give you a quick update on some of the grant work that we've been wrapping up throughout Coeur d'Alene for hazardous fuel reduction treatments. Largest one being on Canfield Mountain. We also did a small project on the Prairie Trail. That's a Prairie Trail hazardous fuel trail. So once again, the driving force behind this project is always public safety in the event of a wildfire. The hazardous fuel treatment, this is a program that we enter into with the Idaho Department of Lands. It's their grant program. City of Coeur d'Alene works with them as a property owner. We have a project manager, that manages the project for the city, working directly with the Idaho Department of Lands. We had no in-kind match for this program, which means there was no city dollars even in staff that had to go towards it. It was a directly funded grant, which is nice because we just get to get a contractor and tell them to go to work. So we had a defensible space plan in place to keep everybody safe. We also worked with CanCourse LLC as a private landowner. They had 8 acres that I'll show you here in a minute that we worked on. And then the City of Coeur d'Alene is also obviously the second property owner in this project. Grant priorities, we had the Canfield Wildland Urban Interface fuel break. That was, when we get into the map, I'll show you the area that butts up to homes. We wanted to create a fuel break there. to help protect those homes. The high-use trail fuel reduction, so we had about a 50-foot buffer on each side of the trail. We were trying to suppress those lower-level fuels and what we call ladder fuels, which are dry sticks and timber that are in the lower canopies of the trees. And then thinning of dead and diseased stands of trees. We did have quite a bit of dead ponderosa pine on the hill. And here you can see we had about 23 acres of city property. This is that main trail park area that people would go to at the city trailhead. And then you can see the area in purple, which is that 8 acres of private property owned by CanCourse LLC. Now, it should be noted that CanCourse LLC, that property is open to the public, unlike a lot of private properties. That gentleman's goal and focus is to make that a public access land. Project objectives were to help save lives and protect property. We also we're working to support the natural area special values. Whenever we put these together, we want to make sure that we understand that we don't want to, quote, park it out like some people say. We really are doing fuel treatment and trying to make sure that we keep the natural areas that we want them to be. With this 31 total acres, it was mainly hand fuels treatment, meaning we had gentlemen on the natural area working with their hands. There was no equipment on the trail. Phase 1 was cutting and piling by the contractor. The Phase 2, which we just finished up, was the burning by the contractor. Now the fun part, get into some photos. So you can see the previous condition of the hill. Granted, also one photo is in the middle of summer and spring, and it's pretty and beautiful, and now it's fall when it's raining. So that's part of it. But you can see quite a stark difference getting those lower level shrubs out, trees out, thinning, raising that canopy up, getting rid of those dead debris, and then you can see the kind of piles that they were stacking on the left-hand side. And then as we get into just some more examples, here you can see some of the piles that we had stacked, and then an example of what the burn down looks like on those piles. They were able to get a really nice burn. We had some good weather conditions coming into November. We were able to take advantage of those. Sometimes our public outreach can be a little lacking with the burn because the contractors call us. They say, hey, we're burning on Monday, so we have to hurry up, get a public information announcement out. We really like to have time to walk the natural areas, the neighborhoods abutting the natural areas, put up door hangers. But sometimes if they call us on Friday, we got to be ready to go on Monday. So here you can see the burn in action. These guys are out burning, and you can see here you have active burn, the treatment method on your left, and then on the right, that smolder and burn down, leaving you with almost no residue, and you can see how opened up that all is. And then you can see just the display. This is what the neighbors got to see when the burn was taking place. But you can really see there that where that focus was directly on this portion of land that abuts those properties directly. So that really was our focus. Some people might look at Canfield and say, wow, Canfield is hundreds of acres and you guys focused on this one single area. And that's mainly because, where we're gonna have a problem and where we're gonna have loss of life and loss of property is gonna be where that area butts up to those homes. Particularly neighborhoods where you have a larger quantity of people as opposed to maybe some of the larger properties on the other sides in the county. So the other project I have to talk about was a very nice kind of small project, but one I'm really happy with. This was some leftover grant funds from our Fernand project that we were able to move into the Prairie Trail Natural Area Buffer. So this is an area that's highlighted in red, and you can see this separates an industrial area from our multi-use trail called Prairie Trail. And this wasn't a ton of money, but we were able to do about 5 acres, which sometimes having a little bit of money, you try to find these natural pockets that you can use them in, and these trail buffers are a nice spot. So getting some photos, you can see here, pretty stark difference. These areas here abutting the trail, they're a buffer for that commercial space, that industrial space. And one thing we have in there is when they're thick like this, not only does it increase the chance of wildfire if somebody were to get in there, there's also common places for people to camp illegally. Also a common area for kids to get into and be up to no good. So really when we open this up, not only does it reduce that fuel that could be a fire starter. It also increases visibility to, for our trail users to have better sight if there is cars coming at the crossings. It also just keeps them more visible for patrol, and also opens these up so that our patrol officers, when they're out, if there's somebody up to no good, they can get in there. So the results you can see here, this is a nice area where they did some work. This is a 5-acre strip, but it was 5 acres all spaced out in about 100-foot wide lineal, 100-foot wide by lineal path, so quite a long area. If you go for a bike ride, you should be able to see it, or run, whatever you want to do. Projects met, we had fuel reduction, as I said, about 5 acres. We have this really nice fuel break that's established now, and it's really cleaned up and open, so our staff can get in there and really be able to keep it clean. If that involves some spraying or some weed whacking or just, some pruning. Improve the forest health, as I said, improves that trail visibility and patrol visibility is quite a bit. And overall, the user trail aesthetics, I think it just increases it quite a bit. Pretty stark difference. And the nice thing about it is, if you didn't know that we did the work, you probably wouldn't know. You just, man, it looks nice here, and I don't really know why, which is just how we want it. So to wrap this all up, we were able this fall to treat 36 acres of total natural area. This is approximately $135,000 grant dollars that we were able to utilize, so that's public money, but not our local tax dollars. These are our federal tax dollars that we're putting to good use, but it doesn't come out of the city's pocket. Overall, the forest health at Canfield Natural Area is much improved. Public safety and trail visibility is all much improved. And that same thing about trail visibility that's true along our multi-use trails is definitely true about our natural trails. If that's opened up and patrol can see up there, try to limit our chance of wildfire, not just by removing the fuel, but hopefully increasing the visibility so the people that are up there trying to cause a fire, maybe we can catch them before they do it. And then, of course, we have multiple fuel mitigation grants upcoming, and this does include Tubbs Hill in 2025. So I'll be back here early spring, end of winter, to give you guys an update and show you what the plans for that look like. And that's really all I've got. I thank you guys for your time, and anybody who has any questions about the grant that might be watching from home can please contact me using either my email or my phone number shown there on the screen. And I'd be happy to stand for any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Any questions for Nick? Christie?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, Nick, first of all, I did notice your work. Beautiful job south of Golf Course Road. Did a really nice job on that, on the Prairie Trail there. So did you, I might have missed, did you say you will have plans for next year where you're going to be? Is that what you're working on?
Yeah, so we were fortunate enough to get approved at the same time as this Canfield Mountain Natural Area Grant. But yeah, it's gonna be great. Going to be an interesting prescription there. We'll lean on Steve Bladel with Inland Forest Management, has once again won that contract, so he's going to be managing this grant. Similar process where we're the property owner, so we're working with them, giving them our goals and what we want to do with the property and also access, and then working on the public outreach process. Now, this is an in-kind match grant, so we're going to have to come up with a little bit of funds, but luckily the Tubbs Hill Foundation is directly contributing to that to help us with those dollars. We have a couple members from there that will be on the panel that's putting together the prescription. So, that's coming up in spring, and pretty excited to get that taken care of.
Monty is the king of grants. It'd be kind of fun someday, Monty, for you to tell us, since you've been working for the city of Coeur d'Alene, how many grants you've written and gotten approved for us and the dollar amount. Maybe you know that.
I can tell you right now that just in fuel mitigation, between the predecessor finishing up that Ferdinand Hill grant, this grant, and some of the other fuel mitigation grants, only we're over $1 million in grant work that's been put towards forest health. So huge contribution.
And I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that last year we got 1.2 million in grants. And when I said 600, that's what they had on the form for the grant, but I think the dollar amount is probably closer to 3, but they're also including matches and then some other kind of contractual thing with the county. And I believe that actually Canfield and Fernand may have had matches, or at least Canfield, but the county actually covered that match.
That was a directly funded grant, but Monty's completely correct as far as when I tell you guys like the $135,000, that's not all necessarily money that goes towards boots on the ground, right? That's the overall grant, management, everything that goes into it. So sometimes when you hear these big numbers, like Monty said, $650,000, it's a lot of money, but there's a lot that goes into it other than just the dollars on the ground. So they'll probably be about half of that is the money that we get to give to the contractor that actually puts boots on the ground, so.
It's awesome.
And Commissioners, the foundation has pledged helping us with the match. We've already have our stipend set aside in a Tubbs Hill account. They've also given us a letter that they're going to participate financially.
Yeah, which
So
is,
Our match in this grant is covered.
it's a big thank you, because now we get to focus on just doing this grant and doing the work as good as we possibly can without having to watch every single hour that we're spending on it, which we will still, but at least we know the dollars are there, so we don't have to focus on it. We have the money, we'll give them the money, and we'll just make sure it's the best we can possibly do.
Great.
Good work.
Thank you all very
Appreciate
much.
it. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next item is an action item. ITD and FHWA right-of-way permission. Decision point tonight, will the Parks and Recreation Commission recommend City Council allow the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a maintenance agreement with IDT in order to gain permission from them to construct a connector hiking trail from Fernand Village to the Fernand Lake Natural Park Trail System. Fernand Lake Natural Park is a 54-acre preserve located on the north-facing slope of Potlatch Hill and along the south shore of Fernand Lake. The preserve was acquired in 2008 and opened for public use in 2009. The park is accessed through a trailhead on Potlatch Hill Road and contains approximately 2 miles of hiking trails that provide access to the lakeshore and the ridgetops. Mark Jones volunteered for 10 years to help create the trail system that is currently in place and was a strong advocate for connecting the trail system to Fernand Village. The current trailhead parking lot is 2 miles away from Fernand Village and other downtown neighborhoods. The main goal of creating this connection is to provide a hiking trail which local residents can access without having to get in their cars and drive to it. There is no direct financial impact on the city other than staff time to organize volunteer groups to dig and shape the trail. Constructing this trail will provide greater access to our hiking trails on Fernand. Again, the decision point and recommendation tonight recommend City Council allow the Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a maintenance agreement with ITD in order to gain permission from them to construct a connector hiking trail from Fernand Village to the Fernand Lake Natural Park Trail System.
A lot of brightly colored solid lines where the current trails are. And the dotted line here in red, this is the connector trail we are talking about. For those of you who are familiar with Fernand, there already is a user trail of sorts that starts around the north end of the pond, but it follows the shoreline really closely and ends up at a fishing spot that you can't really go up the hill. It's pretty steep. So this would, this project would utilize a construction bench that was used to construct I-90 that has a bunch of trees that have grown over and a lot of boulders. And the idea is to get people in a nice grade to get from down below up high without having to get in their cars and drive up there. Now, there's still the parking lot there for people driving. This is still going to be the main parking lot for Fernand, but all the people who live down here and want to walk up there can now, after this is done, will be able to walk up to the park. So this is the idea. There's a construction bench. It's already there. We just have to move some boulders, dig with some Pulaskis and shovels and rakes, lift up some trees, and it's about 900 feet long, I believe, something like that. And probably be able to get it done in a couple days with a good volunteer group. This is some of the trail building techniques we use when we're building a dirt path. You take some of the uphill slope and you put it down on the downhill slope, and you make a nice trail with an outward slope on it so that the water drains. And these are our standards. This is basically the package I sent to ITD for the permit. And so we'd like to get permission from City of Coeur d'Alene to go ahead with this project so we can go get a permit from ITD and move forward with this. sometime next year, probably next summer when we get volunteer groups or Eagle Scout groups. So if you're in really good shape, you can climb it.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a great idea.
It would just enhance the use of that whole natural area.
Yeah.
That,
Well, I'd like to make a motion if we're ready.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we recommend to the city council that they should allow the Park and Recs Department to enter a maintenance agreement with ITD in order to gain permission from them to construct a connector hiking trail from Fernan Village to the Fernan Lake Natural Park Trail System.
I would second that.
motion's been made by Commissioner Lean and seconded by Commissioner Tate. To recommend city council allow Parks and Recreation Department to enter into a maintenance agreement with ITD in order to gain permission from them to construct a connector hiking trail from Fernan Village to the Fernan Lake Natural Park Trail System. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
I might add, it's a shortcut to get to Stella's.
It is.
Yep, there you go.
And you'll be ready for something cold by the time you get there.
Thank you.
So that, thank you, Monty. So that's approved unanimously. Does that also route through General Services, Bill?
Correct.
Okay.
And I might add, you know, our open space trail system is really remarkable, and it's all due to Monty. I mean, he's really, it's like, he's been talking about this connector trail for some time now, and he's always kept his finger on that pulse, and an opportunity presented itself, and he jumped on it. So kudos to him, because, you know, he and volunteers did all the trail system at Fernan. So, and he did the same thing up at Canfield. Most of that was his work with volunteers and some of our staff as well, so he's doing a great job.
Well, we wish you nothing but success on the project. Okay, any other comments or announcements before we adjourn? Okay. I'd just like to make a short announcement that our next regular Park and Rec Commission meeting will be Monday, December 16th, 5:30 right here in the library community room. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second?
Okay. Who made the motion? Warren?